Welcome on in, everybody, for the first of two streams today. It's not very often we do that, but welcome on in, and I want to, of course, have you guys, while we're talking about this to start off the stream, put out of 10 what you thought of today's race. 10 out of 10 if you thought it was the best race ever, 1 out of 10 if you thought it was the worst, somewhere in the middle if you thought it was in the middle. Forgive me, I'm just switching over to anything but this. So I see a lot of people pretty positive about the race. I thought it was definitely a slow burn. I thought that overall, at first it was kind of just straightforward, a little boring the first two stages, maybe stage and a half, I would say. But it definitely heated up when strategy was put into the mix, once you started seeing fuel strategy, tire strategy, and that's really, in my opinion, where Homestead shines. Now, to cover one of the big stories really quick, they talked about it right at the end of the broadcast. They just mentioned it, but Matt Mills has been transported to a local hospital. There weren't any other updates. I mean, he got out of the car, but hard hit. There was a lot of fire in the car or truck too. So, we're hoping the best for him. If you see any updates on Twitter, let me know in the chat. If I see it, I will let you know. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about that incident really quick. I think that's what we'll start off with after we get to the finishing order and playoff grid. All right, so that'll be the first order of business. Playoff-wise, Enfinger with a second win. He's still advanced. Plus 49 for Heim, plus 38 for Eckes, Majeski plus 22 over Raja. Then after that, you got Gray, 24 back, 41 back for Ankrum, 43 back for Sanchez. I think it's a must win for everybody under the cut line right now, unless Majeski has an issue. I think Heim and Eckes are pretty good to go, unless one of them wins below them. As for the finishing order of this race, Grant Enfinger gets another win in this round on a great fuel mileage play. Solid car all around. Had some issues with Eckes. Didn't seem to be too upset after winning. But he wins by 17.5 seconds over Ty Majeski. Basically, it's just everybody that was near him fuel-wise ran out. The veteran, of course, makes it last. Mosak in third. Heim time for fourth. Ankrum with the fifth place run, just not enough with the fact that he ran pretty mediocre, subpar all day. Friesen, sixth. Danny Dye in seventh. Raja in eighth. Ninth is Eckes and Taylor Gray, top 10. Last three in the lead lap were Crafton, Rhodes, and Nick Sanchez. Caden Honeycutt, fast car today. A lot of potential, I think, for the future. 14th a lap down. Dean Thompson, 15th a lap down. Then Day, Sawalich, Zilich, Sutton, and Tanner Gray, the top 20. And running up those a lap down were Lawless Allen in 21st and Lane Riggs in 22nd. Timmy Hill, 2 laps down in 23rd. Then Jake Garcia, 24th and 25th. Connor Jones. Trust me, he is the first person we're going to talk about after we get through this part. Chase Purdy with the 26th place run, 3 down. Boyd in 27th, Connor Daly 28th, 4 down for Bird in 29th, Marco Andretti 30th, 7 laps down. Bailey Curry 9 down in 31st. Justin Mondyke is, I believe he fell out of the race late, 32nd. Frankie Muniz 29 laps down in 33rd. Just had some engine issues and mechanical issues early on, and never had a chance to do anything. And then Matt Mills last, and again has been transported to a local hospital after suffering a crash. Let's talk about that crash. I think that's going to be the big point of the race, outside of maybe Enfinger winning. Getting down into turn 3, I want to say, what is it, about lap 86? Where's it at? About lap 75, based on some of my notes. They go down into turn 3 on the bottom. Connor Jones runs down Matt Mills from about 3 to 4 truck lengths back, hits him, and sends him right up into the outside wall. Pretty hard hit at that. And the truck erupts in flames for the 42. He gets out, relatively unscathed, at least from what we could see. He was able to walk away, but definitely seemed pretty dazed, at least by body language. I'm going to say this. We got a lot of young drivers coming on up through the ranks, especially in the truck series. And we have a lot of them that I think make really good storylines and fun drivers to watch. And we have some that are just insanely immature. And I think what Conor Jones did, at the bare minimum, should be called immature. Reckless, definitely. But I would say just flat out dangerous and stupid. And I have the quotes from his little Kurt Busch style old school rant, which, by the way, we'll put the results up here. Let me know if I got anything wrong. But I got the quotes right here for what he said. So he was quoted on FS1 saying, "He's done that to me all year. I'm tired of it. I'm effing tired of it." Said, "I'm getting effing run over left and effing right. I'm done. I'm just done." He's screaming over the radio. We've seen this kind of I guess, rants before from him. We've seen him give up on his team before at North Wilkesboro. I know firsthand he's a bit of a wild card. I do not understand how he only got a 2-lap penalty, personally. I think that in general, NASCAR should be very strict on stuff like this, but I think especially in the younger series, in formative years for a lot of these very young drivers. I mean, I think Conor Jones is only 18. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that should have been a parking, personally. I think that especially when a young driver has a history over and over again, when many drivers, both over the radio during the race, but also on social media that have raced against him, say this is the norm, that this is something that he is known for doing, or at least it has been assumed that he would do, that NASCAR needs to step in, be the adults, and sit him down. I hope he got called to the hauler after. I hope they put the fear of God in him. Unfortunately, he might get called to the hauler, but I don't think that's going to happen, because we've seen so many young drivers get called to the hauler and go back out later on and do the same things. A lot of people, rightfully so, have been very critical of guys like Carson Hocevar for being overly aggressive, doing dumb things, but at least Carson Hocevar wins races in the trucks, or won races in the truck series, runs up front, and even in Cup runs in the top 10 in equipment that probably shouldn't be up there. He at least has talent to fall back on right now that has been proven. And I'm not saying Conor Jones doesn't have talent, but I will say that he has not proven anything so far, except that he has a reputation for doing dumb things. So 17. Let me double check. I want to make sure. I know he's young. Let's see. 18. Jesus, he was born in 2006. Yeah, February of 2006 is his birthday. So, yeah, he's 18. And I get a lot of people being like, well, young kids can do dumb things. I get that. But you have to correct those dumb things. And if NASCAR doesn't, and I think that they failed the first step of not parking his ass for the day, but if NASCAR does not, and the people around him do not fix this kind of bad behavior, it will end up in more incidents like this. If he's doing it this early on with people that he really hasn't raced all that much around relatively, imagine what he could do if there's somebody he's constantly pissed at and he just piss meter goes to 12 out of 10 and he's been dealing with it for an entire season or something like that. I don't like that they took what I assume to be, at least in my opinion, a slap on the wrist towards this. That's going to be the big story out of this race, outside of Grant Enfinger, just masterful job of saving fuel and everything. But I think that needed to be addressed from the get-go. I don't know what the hell Conor Jones was thinking in that moment, other than just, red eyes, red face rage. But that stuff needs to be ironed out. And then yesterday, not even now, yesterday, like that should not be part of his arsenal at any point. But oh yeah, there you go. Thank you for that. By the way, while we're thinking, while I've have it here, let's take this down for a second so that I swear I had edited that. The NWP this week will be on Eric Estep's channel, not Danny B Talks. Thank you for letting me know that. I knew that something was a little up there. So let me fix that. There we go. Carry the 4. Sorry, just a joke. All right, should be good to go. Yeah, we'll be on Eric's channel Wednesday night. We'll talk about this a ton. We will. But yeah, I think that needed to be the main point of emphasis starting this show out. You just can't be doing that crap. And I don't like that. That's there. I don't like that's there heading into the last 2 weeks, especially with the truck finale coming up. Like I'm getting shades of last year. But let's talk about the race itself. First stage was so just on brand, normal. Nothing really happened. Corey Heim wins the pole. Pretty much leads wire to wire. Caden Honeycutt charged up and challenged him. And I think Caden Honeycutt will be very good next year. And I think that he's a good prospect. I think he's a very overlooked prospect. But he finishes second to Heim in the first stage. Majeski third. Taylor Gray fourth. Eckes, Enfinger, Mosak, Sanchez, Caruth, and Thompson, the top 10. Again, the first 2 stages were so just kind of straightforward, stock brand, whatever. So I don't know really too much more that we could add about it at that point. Stage 2, Sanchez, of course, goes to the rear for speeding, so he'd have to charge his way back up. The restarts were at least fun. There was battling for the lead on the restarts. You had the 11 and 17 up front again. Eckes would battle for the lead with them, but it was Heim again winning stage 2. I would like to say there was more going on, but the stages are so short in the first 2 that it's pretty straightforward. Just go. And I think the big issue when you don't have strategy involved with the trucks at Homestead, and we've learned this for the past couple of years, if there's not strategy going on, if there's no stakes really going on, it's hard to pass because these trucks are so kind of just wired down with power, and at the same time, they all run the same speed a lot of the times. I mean, they were showing like, the top 5 on the ticker board during stage 2, and I want to say that like, they would show them switch to the field, but it was like only a couple hundredths difference once they got spread out. There'd be some once the tires worn out that could move up towards the end of it, but those short runs really were not conducive to great racing. Enfinger would end up taking the lead late in the run. He was the one, again, saved the tires, smart older driver, got back up there, won stage 2 over Heim, Eckes, Majeski, Honeycutt, Taylor Gray, Danny Dye, Mikey's guy. I like that. We should call him that. Mikey's guy, Danny Dye. Mosak in 8th, Raja Caruth and Matt Crafton had an appearance up there. It was the final stage where stuff actually hit the fan, and it was actually pretty fun, I would say. I think that the final stage is where the race was very much saved. Yeah, see Braden in the chat. Did y'all notice that moment where FS1 zoomed in on nothing? Yeah, they zoom in and then they pan across the track. I don't know if they were trying to hide the fact that there were like 5 people in the grandstands or if they just didn't know what the hell they were doing, but it was total on-brand FS1 moment. I get it's noon for them. It's morning for the rest of the country. But I don't know what we expect at this point. It's just, it's common FS1L. But it was funny. I mean, it's something that I hope somebody has a video of that on Twitter and just, it's like, where is he looking? What's he doing up there? By the way, click the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 81.1. K subscribers, so pretty cool stuff to end off the year. Let's end off the race recap here with the final stage. And up front, it's Enfinger and Taylor Gray. Gray leads because Eckes and Enfinger made contact. And I think that being shuffled back like this, not having to retain track position anyway, and the fact that he's locked in to the final four, all of this, especially with this moment, opened the door for Enfinger to run the strategy to win the race. He would end up having to pit, go a lap down because of the damage caused by this. Eckes actually would commit a slide job and get the lead over Corey Heim at the same time. Of course, Heim took it right back because he was definitely the best one out there today. But this is what opened it up. And then, of course, quickly after the caution, we've already went over it. If you want to hear more of what I have to say, rewind back to probably about like 3 minutes in. It's about where we start talking of the Matt Mills incident with Connor Jones. That caution, again, opened up a huge opportunity for a lot of drivers to try alternate strategies, and it worked out really, really well for them. By the way, I'm going to keep looking up in an update, and if we don't see it during this stream, then I'll update you on the Xfinity one later today. But no real update that I can see. Let's see. Yeah, no update other than he's been transported to a local hospital for further evaluation. But at least, again, he walked out of the car. He was able to get out under its own power just fine. So I think I'm hoping this is probably just a precautionary thing. Definitely a hard hit, though. So wishing the best for Matt Mills. So let's talk about the end of this race here. From lap 83 on, I believe we end up staying green. We get the 11-19, Heim, Eckes up front restarting. I'm so shocked those two were running up front 1-2 for a ton of the day. Just absolutely shocked. Shocked, I tell you. Heim easily got the lead with fresh tires, but because of the alternate strategies and because of the fact that we got back racing in the stage at lap 68, we had a caution, so they ran about 7-8 laps under green. Some of the others that were more towards the back or in the middle of the pack or had nothing to lose pitted, and it was Lane Riggs who just went up video game style through the field in 2 laps, took the lead away right off the bat from Heim, and it was on from there. There was the strategies of those guys on that strategy, like Enfinger, like Riggs, like Mosak, who stayed out. A lot of them had fresh tires, stayed out, just wanted to give it a shot to save that fuel at the end. Others with about 35 to go, like Raja Karuth, Eckes, Heim, others like that pit. They're wanting the fresh tires to end the race, have the fuel to be safe to end the race. And again, the playoff guys that are in were playing it safe so they could end the race with enough fuel and take advantage of the eventual guys running out that we saw. And at that point, with about 23 to go, Enfinger starts challenging for the lead. Riggs holds him off for a couple laps, but he ends up taking the lead with about 20 to go, give or take. Saving is all over the place up front, and you start seeing the pace pick up a little bit up front. You see the 9 pick up the pace just a little bit. You see the 38, I think, react to try and pick up the pace, then be told to back it back down. But Riggs ends up running out with 2 to go. On the white flag, a ton of others start running out. Sanchez is running out. Mosak ran out right at the very end. Friesen, I believe, ran out. Of course, Riggs, like we said, just a lot of topsy-turviness. And at the end, 4 of the top 5 were playoff guys that needed good runs. 3 of those top 5s were Enfinger, Majeski, and Heim. A guy that's in who gets another win. Majeski, who of course needed that run to stay up towards the front 4, and then Heim, of course. Eckes running 9th, not a bad run at all either. So a lot of guys did what they had to do. The top 4 did what they had to do, and heading into Martinsville, I cannot say that really. I can't say Majeski is safe just because stupid stuff can happen, but plus 22 is a pretty good margin to have over some drivers that I really don't think are going to challenge him as long as nothing stupid happens. 38 up for Eckes. Again, I think that's pretty safe as long as he doesn't get knocked out early. Heim plus 49. I mean, hopefully there's a full field. If not, if there's a field like today, 49 is damn near perfect to be safe. I mean, if he scores just like 5 stage points, he should be probably pretty good to go to lock himself in early. I fully expect him to do that. If he doesn't, something drastic, I think, happened. But that's that. Yeah, of course. I know something stupid's going to happen. It's a matter of who it happens to. But yeah, overall, I was pleased with the race. I thought at first it was kind of dull, per se. There wasn't really as much good racing, all that, but the final stage to me kind of saved it with the strategy. I love watching fuel strategy races. I don't think Fox by any means had a good day of coverage, but that's the norm for them, is to be mediocre like that. I think that they actually kind of covered the fuel strategy stuff decently, though. I knew what was going on, which is not something I usually can say about a Fox Sports race covering a fuel mileage finish. So there is that. By the way, click the like button, try and drive up those likes, and let's look to finish off with these couple of super chats. Fred Dog 81 with the 2. Where has this 9 been all year? Heck, all career. I mean, he's been solid. I can double check where he's at now, because I always update him after every race. The NASCAR wins list, and we can see where exactly Grant Enfinger will be after this race. Let's see. Yeah, so Grant Enfinger now is 17th all time in NASCAR NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series wins. I still have his Camping World in here. I got to fix that. But he's tied for 17th all time with 11 wins, I believe, unless I'm mistaken. I'll double check. But that would be tied with Timothy Peters all time on the wins list. So pretty solid to be in the running. I mean, he's now broken a tie with Bobby Hamilton, which is a big deal. So 12, actually. I didn't get that right. So he's actually now officially 17th, unless it's 13. I am so damn off. Apologies. Let's see. Let me double check. Yeah, so he's 12. So he's officially broken the tie with Timothy Peters, I should say, for 17th, sole driver in possession of 12 career wins in the Truck Series. So I feel like Grant Enfinger is somebody that slips under the radar. And, heading into Martinsville, I think that's really good for him. I think he could win Phoenix. I like Grant Enfinger and his chances, and the momentum is on this team's side for sure. Reverend Rasheem Hall Stewart with the 2. Is Homestead the best mile-and-a-half track? I personally say no. I like it. I know a lot of people find it boring. I think Xfinity and Cup are much better than trucks racing-wise on it, especially Xfinity. Xfinity is just awesome. I don't think it's bad by any means. I mean, if I had to rank them, number 1 has to be Kansas. I mean, that track's been on a heater, I'd say, for probably the past 7 or 6 years, give or take, outside of maybe 1 or 2 races here or there. Even in the 550 days for Cup, Kansas was good. That track just is aging perfectly. Charlotte's definitely up there. I think, how many mile-and-a-halfs we got left at this point? I would personally take Kansas and then Charlotte as 1-2, though. But that'll do it. We will be live later tonight after the Xfinity race, tomorrow after the Cup race, and Wednesday night after the whole day is done, 8 p.m. Eastern on Eric Estep's channel. We'll talk a lot about this. I can double check one more time just to make sure there's no news yet on Matt Mills. Let's see. I don't see. Let's see. There was an official statement put out by Nice. We can end off on that. Matt Mills, driver of the number 42 for Nice Motorsports, is being transported. Let's see. Additional updates will be forthcoming. No additional comments, though, at this time. So, again, wishing the best for Matt Mills, and we will keep you guys updated on the Xfinity post-race. So be sure to check that out. But that'll do it. Thank you guys for coming on in. I appreciate it a lot. We will be live later today, and I can't wait to see you then. Until then, have a good one. Later.